Now, dignitaries, my dear, most importantly, the students graduating here, their parents, and all the teachers who are behind them, I wish you all heartiest congratulations for graduating today. It's a great moment for all the teachers who are behind their successful learning stint here in this institute. While many think Convocation is the end of their stay and stint here, but I think it is actually the beginning of real learning, because best of institutions teach how to learn rather than teach everything in the world. You can only teach them to learn, and learning actually begins from here, because within the formal walls of classrooms and institutes, you can only do so much. But once you are out in the world, that's when your true learning begins. And it's a very different world. Many of the things you learn in classrooms may not even apply. You may have to acquire many new ways of thinking, approaches, and skills. Now, I thought it would be very good to share some of my life lessons in learning to be problem solvers, to be leaders in your fields. Because I think we may be engineers, teachers, managers, but the best thing to be is problem solvers, because the world is full of problems, and if you are able to solve them, then you are true leaders. And therefore, I thought I would share some of the pillars of my learning, my school. It may help you, and it may be a little different from conventional schools, because I did not have any conventional schooling when I was a child in my village, and that was because my village was very, very, very remote part of this country. Ladakh, as you may have heard, is itself a very remote part of the country. It stays landlocked or cut off for half the year. As we speak, it's opening up to the world as roads open after half a year of closure due to heavy snow on the passes. So half the year it closes. That's how remote and far away it is. You can imagine Bhubaneswar being cut off for 2 or 3 days and there'll be riots. So we stay cut off for half the year almost. Now in that region, there is a tiny, tiny village where I was born. And this village is so small that it has only 5 households, or it had when I was a child. Today, I always like to say it has grown 100% to become a village of 10 households. Still not very big for Bhubaneswar. Now, in that village of 5 households, we didn't have schools. Something very sad, many think, for a child in that village. I too thought, unfortunate not to have a school. But much later, when I did see the state of schools elsewhere in other villages and cities, I really actually thought that was the best thing to happen to my childhood. No schools. Because no school doesn't mean no learning, no education. Actually, sometimes it's better, more holistic, more happy childhood and learning without schools, depending on what your school is like. So therefore, I've come to know that no school is actually much better than bad schools. Yeah? And I think Mark Twain shares this feeling when he says, I have never allowed my schooling to interfere with my education. So sometimes schooling can interfere. In that kind of times and situation, how did my learning happen is what I thought I would share a little, because this will come handy during and after your college days are over and new learning from life begins. So, 9 years I didn't have any schools. Later I was dragged into some schools, and there ended my true learning, which was happening in the village. And how did I learn without schools is what I thought I'd share, and I think it'll be helpful to you also. So learning doesn't really take buildings with rooms called classrooms or textbooks or teachers. Great if you have good provision of such things, but learning happens because human beings are wired, programmed to learn. Learning happens because of this wonderful software, I call it, to connect with today's lingo. This software, I think the world's best learning software ever, is called curiosity. Learning happens because of our own curiosity to want to know about everything in front and beyond the mountains, in my case. Learning happens because the hardware, the human baby, comes preloaded with this curiosity software. They are programmed. You can't stop them from learning. School or no school, teacher or no teacher, textbook or no textbook, they learn. In fact, most of the times, we become hindrances to that learning. We think we are great parents, we'll make them learn. We think we are great teachers, we'll make them learn, and we kill their curiosity, delete that software. And then many parents keep wondering, why does my child not take interest in studies? Well, you just deleted the software. So when we discipline our children not to ask questions, not to dare to think like this or that, or classes that are kept silent all the time, pin drop silent, that too, we are actually actively deleting that software. Otherwise, children are wired to learn. And that's why I was so lucky to be left in this tiny village with few farmers, lots of sheep, goats, and cattle that I would chase after and learn a lot. Climb apricot trees, jumped into the Indus River and learn a lot. Go on the farm and learn from the farmers and learn a lot. Years later, I was taken to schools, had problems but made up and did quite well, and was in engineering, where I met people from the best of colleges, join the same institute. I would tease them and say, when you guys were learning from faded pages of textbooks, ROOT, root, and LEAVES, leaves, I was on the farm watching together with a farmer how seeds go in the ground, how roots go down, shoots come up, and leaves unfurl without having to bother with LEAVES, very illogical LEAF, leaf, and all that mumbo jumbo. I was spared. I could directly connect with nature. And that was thanks to this curiosity. And I was lucky also to get to learn from my mother in my mother tongue. When you have good foundation of learning or speaking your mother tongue, you are ready for other languages. Doesn't take too long, any languages. Just as mother's milk is good for your body, mother tongue is good for your mind. So it took me 6 months to a year to acquire new languages. While I had no language skills other than my mother tongue at 9, I ended up speaking some 9 languages later in life. As long as you have the good foundation, doesn't matter. So learning doesn't take only schools, textbooks, and teachers. We are gifted with, And therefore, curiosity is what you will need from now on. You are lucky to have great professors, libraries, classrooms, but now prepare for my school, where you won't have any of these, but it will be your curiosity which will stand you in good stead. Of wanting to know what is happening in the world, what initiatives, inventions are taking place, what it will be like, how you want to be prepared for that time, all that curiosity will stand you in good stead. So don't let curiosity die. If it is weak, awaken it, rekindle it, and keep learning every day. It's the beginning of learning, not the end of learning today. Curiosity, my friends. Now, curiosity alone is not everything to become problem solvers and leaders. Curiosity alone can be entertaining. It can be like, monkey curiosity. Cats are known for their curiosity, but that doesn't go very far. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't solve the world's problems. So curiosity is good for intellectual attainments, but it doesn't help the world. And therefore, the second pillar of my school, without schools, was what I got from my mother in good doses, and that was empathy. Empathy that you learn more from people in rural areas, grandmothers and grandfathers, than in schools from strict and disciplinarians. Yeah? You learn more from your mother, your grandmother. And I was so lucky, I had only my mother and my grandfather and grandmother to learn these great qualities. So empathy is about feeling for others, their pains, their problems, and wanting to solve those problems. Without this, curiosity alone is not good, can be dangerous even. But with empathy, you are helping the world become better. And again, I saw later that schools don't prepare us for this great quality that we need to coexist with so many other humans and non-human living beings and non-living beings on this planet. While our schools often kill the curiosity, our schools don't even care about empathy. Actually, I found that many only instill competitiveness, while we need collaboration, cooperation. They train us to just leave others behind and top the group and excel alone. That's not what makes a beautiful world. So empathy for other people's challenges is what I learned more from my mother, who was always caring for not only her neighbors, but even passers-by on the streets. I remember tourism was just beginning in Ladakh, and some European guests would, stray off their itinerary and land up in our house when it is dark and they had nowhere to go, and my mother would happily bring them home and give them a room and food. But the next morning I would hear a quarrel inside the house between my mother and the guests. And I would hear, and then the quarrel subsides, and then the guests leave. I'd run inside and see what was happening, thinking my mother won finally in the quarrel, and ask what it was, and she would tell me, these guests were trying to pay me for staying with us last night when they lost their way. And then she would smilingly say, but then finally I won. Only to find out when we made the bed that the visitors had hid the money under the pillow. So actually, she had lost but won in that defeat. And that kind of empathy is very important, not just to make us good human beings, actually. You are all, many of you, trained in business management and think none of this is real stuff. This is all touchy-feely, new agey stuff, empathy and all that. We need to be businessmen of substance. Well, I want to tell you that the best of businesses, they go on for generations without any publicity, are the ones that take care of their customers, that can feel the pain of their users before their product is launched and put in everything in their design. Those are the products that sell. So the biggest businesses need as much empathy, even more, as a family does. So empathy will make you problem solvers, will make you leaders. It's when you solve people's pains and problems that they would chase after you rather than you after them. So empathy, my friends, was the second pillar of my school. Now again, empathy and curiosity alone are not enough. Empathy can sometimes be just a wishful thinking. May all problems be solved. They don't. It can be a prayer, a nice prayer, but things don't change. You don't become a problem solver. And for that, the third pillar of my schooling comes into play. And this is what I would like to share with you most importantly today. And that's the spirit of taking initiatives. The spirit of initiative is what actually then changes things outside. And if that is backed by empathy of the heart and curiosity of the head, with all the knowledge you have gathered with your curiosity, then initiatives can change the world, really. Initiative is when you go out of your way and do that thing, not because your teacher has said or is watching will rank you, or your manager, when you are employed, wants it or is looking at, watches you. No, it's what you do because it needs doing, and you can't just be silent spectator. You want to change that little thing. This, again, schools seldom teach. I learnt it in my village from my father, who never sat a spectator, whether it was a broker door handle in the house or an unfair social norm. He would stick his neck out and change things. And that's what it takes to change the world. Go out and take action and change things, and don't just suffer it or watch by when it is not you who's facing that problem. Go out and take initiative, and that spirit of initiative will bless you with the opening of doors. Let me tell you how. Because in my life, if one thing that taught me so many things, then it was this spirit of initiative. I, like my father, can't sit still when things need done. I have to go out and do it. Often suffering a lot of pain and damages and definitely discomfort. But to give up that comfort zone and take initiatives is what will make you men and women of substance. So, when you have that spirit of initiative, you take actions. And actions can lead to success or failure. Actions can lead to anything, but will always leave you with experience. Failure or success, doesn't matter. Actually, failures leave us with more experience than success. Success is short-lived. It can make us sometimes even arrogant. But failures ground us and leave us rich with experience. Now, if actions lead to experiences, experience is what it takes to become confident. Self-confidence, many young people ask me, how do you gain it? I say, it doesn't come one fine morning when you wake up. You have to have a lot of experience of what happens if and when to gain confidence. And for that experience, you need to have taken a lot of actions, which comes from a spirit of initiative. So, actions lead to experiences, and lot of experiences lead to confidence. And when you have these, confidence, experience, out of actions taken, success is a byproduct. You don't have to do much to become successful. Don't Plan to be successful. Plan to take initiative, actions that will lead to experience, that will lead to confidence, and that will, you like it or not, lead to success or more experiences. And when you are successful, nothing succeeds like success. You'll take more actions, more experience, more confidence, and more success. So make sure you have that spirit of initiative. Don't worry about success. And that's what I thought I would share with you today in this very special day to become problem solvers. Take initiative, and take initiative again with an empathetic heart to solve people's problems. And our country, India, is full of challenges and problems. I find it very sad when our bright young people go over to Silicon Valley, New York, or London. But those are not where you find challenges and problems. If you are problem solvers, then our country and our villagers, our people in the rural areas, our own village maybe is the capital of challenges, the best place to solve problems. So I find it very satisfying, we at our institutes, when somebody goes back to his or her village, we call it our biggest success. And we call it our biggest failure when they leave the country and go for where there are fewer problems, and perhaps you yourself become a problem for them by going there as an immigrant. So stay in India and solve all the problems and rise and become leaders in this country. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.